I can. How are we doing?
Oh, good on you.
Good, yeah, good. Do I need these on or not? Can you hear me?
No, no, I don't think it's necessary.
I'll put my Britney Spears mic down there. No problem. No problem. So
How are
we're
you
live.
doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm all right. This is exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, very, very. I'm looking forward to our conversation today, and hopefully it'll go a bit deep.
Let's go.
So I hope people are ready for
Yeah,
that.
let's
Um,
do it. Let's do it. Yeah, I feel like we need like when it goes live, it goes the beeps. The magic beeps.
yeah,
Beep, beep. Here we go, and we're on action.
yeah,
Action. Let's go.
yeah. We need
But
a little.
everybody can see this nonsense I'm talking. So let's.
Well, I highly doubt it's going to be nonsense. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be beneficial to a lot of people. So, I think let's start just if you want to just give a little introduction about yourself and what you do, and obviously I have put a little description in the post, but yeah, it's better to hear it from yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Jack, and I am one of the co-founders of a charity that's based in York. It's a men's mental health charity called Menfulness. It was formed from another group actually that we set up, which was a dads group called Yorkie Dads. And there was lots of dads that were opening up about their mental health. We found it quite a safe environment to talk and open up, which was wonderful. And then we had lots of other guys wanting to join our activities that weren't dads. So we thought we needed to create something that works alongside Yorkie Dads, but is for all men across the city. And Menfulness was born. So
Oh,
yeah, and here we are. So we've been a group, I suppose, for about 5 years, but it's only been the last 2 years we've been an actual official charity. And we're all volunteers, so it's taken up quite a bit of our time, but
wow.
we've all got lived experience, and we're all really, really passionate about it. And it's just growing from strength to strength. And I'm extremely proud of it, and extremely proud of the guys and the volunteers.
That's amazing. And I know you mentioned you do a little bit of research as well.
Yeah, so we got amazingly York St John University. So that's my old stomping ground. Depressingly, about 20 years ago now, I came to York, and they've been super supportive of everything that we've been doing. And I think what we're very good at is talking about the actual activities and what we do, and the impact that it's having. But actually getting some real research and data behind it, and the actual reasons why it works is really important to us. So York St John have done, as part of the Institute of Social Justice, they funded us for the last year for research. And we're going to, in a couple of months, we've got a conference, and we're going to be sharing some of those what I would think mic drop moments, really kind of changing the game in terms of mental health and mental health support, that peer support alongside statutory services, and how we can work better together, and some suggestions of moving forward. I don't want to give too
No,
much away, because we will be
no.
sharing it in a couple of months, but really, really exciting, and I believe groundbreaking
Mm,
stuff that we have to do things differently.
yeah,
Statutory services at the moment are a crisis service is in crisis itself, and GPs are making referrals to us, mental health professionals are making referrals to us, and we're 5 volunteers who are doing it in our spare time. But we've got a model here that works extremely well. And part of it, we're very good at responding to need at Menfulness, in terms of when there's somebody that comes to us with an idea, we go, oh yeah, that sounds wonderful. We kind of give it a go. We just go, because there's no red tape. Yes, we've got the policies and procedures and
mm,
risk assessments and all the boring stuff that you do need to do.
yeah,
But if there's a need for it, we will do it, and we'll put it in place. And now all of our activities, we've got an allotment. We've got the boardrooms. The guys are playing like Dungeons and Dragons
Oh,
and
that's
chess.
amazing.
We've got a retro gaming night over at the shout out to the Crook Tap, the pub there. They host all old school like N64, Mario Kart, GoldenEye, and they have evenings there. We've got a walk and talk. We've got all the sporting activities as well. We've got a running group. We've got a football group. And then we've got loads of people just really trying to support us and raise money for us, which is amazing. But I suppose our unique selling point is our counselling offering. We work with a lot of men's support groups, but one thing, we're telling guys to open up and talk. So, and 9 times out of 10, like what we're doing now, it's enough. That's brilliant. Yeah. It's like, it makes a difference. You feel you've offloaded, you've made a difference. But there is that 1 in 10, we're like, oh, you know, we're at a crisis here and we need to be able to support you better. And we would suggest go to crisis service or go to GP service, and they'll go, well, they sent me to you. So then we've got a duty of care for these people who are displaying signs of suicidal ideation, you know, and real serious stuff. And we have to care for them. So what we've been able to do is work with a Serendipity Counselling Service, which is a private counselling service, alongside my very good friend Sinead, who I used to work with. She set up her own practice, but she's also a tutor as well. So she teaches at York St John and Teesside University, and we use students from there to offer our guys counselling. So it means it's affordable, and they can access it very quickly, a lot quicker than you would get in a statutory service. And there's the stigma. There's absolutely no stigma because it's like top trumps now. Guys are talking about counselling, and they go, "Oh, who do you have? Who do you have?" And just completely normalising it. Like it just comes up in conversation, and it's something that I always take a step back when someone go, "Oh, yeah, I had counselling. Yeah, it's really good," and you can see them all talking to each other about it. And I've always said, like, because I'm a big believer in therapy and counselling and the difference and the impact that it's had on me, and I still have it. I've always said I think it should be a universal entitlement for everyone. I think the impact of having someone that's impartial, who's not connected to your life, and who can guide and support and be there and actually give you some tips to help. I think it's game changing, really.
Sometimes we just need another perspective, and that's all it is.
Yeah, absolutely. That one person who's outside of your world. There's nothing like it.
No, I definitely agree, and I think it's amazing, you know, how you said that they're actually like the stigma is kind of like falling away, and you know, people are actually talking about it and you know, being open and honest about having counseling and normalizing it, and you know, because that was a big barrier, I think, you know, to break that stigma towards, like, especially for men, you know, because they were taught for so long to not deal with their feelings and not, you know, counseling. You don't need counseling. Why do you need counseling? You know, you're a man, suck it up. Like, you know, that kind of attitude, and just, you know, how to regulate those feelings and emotions. I think it's so important, and I think the work you guys are doing is so important because, like you said as well, you know, there's not that red tape, and where in a lot of these big institutes, you know, there's a lot of red tape, and a lot of things get stagnated or, you know, put on hold, or, you know, don't even go through because of the red tape. So you kind of have like a finger on the pulse, essentially, to kind of like move through things quickly. And I just say that, you know, see Sharon talking about dads, you know, seeing your wife go through postpartum depression, you know, like it's all stuff like that's tricky, and they don't necessarily get taught how to deal with that. So counseling and your services could be highly beneficial for stuff like that. So yes, so you touch a little bit on, you know, you guys offer, do you have like more social settings, and then or like organize social events, and then when necessary it goes to counseling?
Yeah, so something which I think is really important is trying to respond to need, and that's what we've always done. So none of our activities really is kind of like any of us as trustees have had these brainwaves. What we do, we empower the guys from our group to kind of, to, if they've got ideas and it's a good one, and at least 5 or 6 of the members want to do it, then why would we not give it a go?
Yeah.
And so yeah, responding to need. And I think for many statutory services and also charities, if you apply for funding, for example, and we're in this position where we're trying to apply for funding. We're not there yet because we're not working for the charity. But when you apply for funding, it's restricted. Sometimes it's restricted to that certain project. So if you get funding for 3 years, that's lovely. But the needs of the group changes. It evolves. There's different circumstances. You know, COVID happens, but you still have to carry on with that funding that you've got.
Yeah.
And I feel there should be more flexibility given to the charity sector, and the voluntary sector. So if you do get funding, to get back in touch with the funders and say, oh, look, well, I've spoken to these guys here, and they want to take it on this path and this road. And just back to, I've forgotten the lady's name that commented about support for dads as mums, and that was part of the involvement of Yorkie dads. And it's really interesting because, you know, childbirth for me was possibly the most traumatic thing I've ever been through as a guy. But obviously, it was a little bit more painful for my wife and very traumatic for her. But so creating that Yorkie dad space where we could all meet, blurry-eyed, exhausted, and over a bacon sandwich. Don't worry, there were vegetarian options, and just to kind of really vent and go, oh my God! Like there's some of the stuff that we're talking about. It's 2024. That was barbaric, you know, like in terms of, and it was really traumatic. That was 12 years ago. So having that space where we could all be honest, and the Yorkie Dads badge and the Menfulness badge allows people, it gives people permission to speak if they want to, because they know it will only be met with kindness, love, support, non-judgmental, and realizing that the most powerful thing was realizing that, oh, you're not alone in this. And I remember saying that, it was like to the guys, like, oh my God, childbirth, it's like, what is going on with that? Like, I was expecting, you know, water births and, you know, incense sticks and cucumber, you know, I was expecting, you know, this is going to be the most, big, difficult, beautiful kind of moment. It was just hell on earth. And being able to be honest with other guys about that was really interesting. And then it just made this environment, you know, and I think it's a myth that guys don't talk. I think it's an absolute myth. I think get the right environment and create stuff in that space and give permission to do it. It's a domino effect. It's just, what's really powerful is certainly our talk group that we have at the stadium. You see guys talk. They might come to me a bit earlier on and go, mate, I'm really struggling. I'm caring for my mum now, and the impact that's having for me. And suddenly, I feel like the parents of my mum, and she's got dementia, and I'm having to wash and clean, and he said it's just really difficult for me. And I remember last week there was a guy who was dealing with something similar. And I just put them in the same group and said, look, no matter what I say, isn't going to be as impactful as you two talking to each other about it. And they're best mates now. And they've got this kind of group, this group where we're all dealing with similar stuff. And I think that's the most powerful thing, to realise that it's very normal to struggle with your mental health. You know, life is very difficult at times. and the circumstances that people are under, and to realize that you're not alone.
Yeah.
Within this city, there's guys dealing with the same thing, and we're just opening those doors for each other to build those. There's nothing like meeting up with people that are going through similar stuff to yourself in terms of realizing. And we always say we can't solve all your problems, but you don't have to face them alone. And
No.
and that's why my daughter, she apple my eye. She's my pride and joy, but she has health needs. She's got cerebral palsy and epilepsy, and until I spoke to other parents who are dealing with the same thing, it was really difficult because every parent has struggles, but until you really meet somebody that's going through what you do, it's been really impactful to me to kind of just go, oh, this is tough, isn't it? This is not what I expected as a parent. This is what it wasn't what I asked for. But by having other people alongside me to kind of just talk to it and let it out, because that's the important thing. Is it's not a thing until it's let out.
Yeah.
And we talk openly about suicidal ideation and depression, anxiety. Until it's let out, then it's not a thing, and it's important to make it a thing.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the times, that's the key aspect. Is like it needs to be a thing before you can start the healing process and start addressing the issue. You have to admit what the issue is first, and like giving that space to people where they feel confident and comfortable to be themselves and to admit that this is something that I'm really struggling with is very crucial and valuable. Like you said, those just creating those environments and putting the correct people in touch that can essentially associate with what you're going through. It's so powerful. I mean, we are creatures of societal beings. Like we crave that interaction with other human beings, and that's how we used to survive as a culture. So we crave that, and when I feel like we've moved in a sense towards isolation, and it's not helping anyone. It's not helping anyone with their mental health or their survival. So I think getting back to that point where we start having conversations again and being honest and open and not masking all the time, and like that's really important. But like saying that it's okay to admit that you're struggling. It doesn't make you weak, not at all. It's just like you are going through a tough time and you just need a little bit of a supporting hand.
In fact, I was watching Married at First Sight, Australia, guilty pleasure, and in fact they said it's not a weakness, it's a superpower. And I told this to the guys. I said, look, I know we're talking about all this toxic masculinity, being a man, what it means to be a man. Actually, women, I've got a secret for you, because I heard it on Married at First Sight. Women find it really sexy when guys can be in tune with their feelings and actually talk. And they were like, really? Really, Jack? Yeah. I was like, well, that's what I heard on Married at First Sight. It's true. It must be true. And I think that's what we're trying to get to. And we're battling, not battling, but we're battling with services statutory services that have been underfunded for a very long time. And so, say for example, myself, 42 years old, never talked, and then it's taken me 42 years to actually get to the doctor and kind of go, I let it out. I'm struggling here, and there's not many options for them.
No.
Really, there is options of counselling. There's talk services, but the waiting list is huge, and I think that. And both of those things are important. Medication. It's a good offering, but I don't think it should be in isolation. Counselling support you should get, but the magic free is that peer support and the friendships, and bringing people together to realise that this this is really normal to feel like this. And we're actually getting guys now, which is as part of our, I can't give too much away about our research, but most of I'll give something a little teaser, I suppose. Most of the stuff that we do, we've always said, like in terms of mental health support, is to get young boys talking early and talking and normalizing mental health, and it's part of you. You have good and you have bad mental health, and there's ways of coping. And those guys that are really good at who don't have bad mental health, that's a really good thing, because we need to learn from you the reasons. Well, what is keeping you well? You know, tell me. Come on, we all need to be in this together, because there's a reason why you've got good mental health. What is that? Are you taking a dog for a walk? You're playing golf every day? Are you loaded? Whatever. Just tell us what it is that keeps you happy. And part of the research was looking at some of our podcasts and the difference. And we all know about those guys out there with toxic masculinity and like I'm not even gonna mention their names, but like the negative impact that they do have on society and men's mental health, about what it means to be a man, and that those stupid connotations. And but we've looked at some of our research, and by creating an environment, we've actually supported guys and not completely changed them, but because their role models, their peers and their friends are different, and in an environment where they're able to talk and open up, and they've got access to counselling if they want it, they're in their 50s and their 60s, and they're actually changing like remarkably, because of the environment that you're in. So you create the environment, you model how it is. We don't usually, or we haven't really ever challenged anyone, because in terms of how they're being and the behaviour, because they see it when you go in the room of, wow, this is different, this is unique, this is special, and they're buying into our values and our ethos of openness, honesty. Speak if you want to speak. You don't have to. There's absolutely no pressure to do. And some guys, it takes them weeks, months to talk. And then they eventually talk, and all these little dripping effects of positive reinforcement about what it actually means to be male is just mind blowing, the difference and the impact. And there's so many guys within York that we're supporting, some that I don't even know because of all the activities going on. So that research is coming back, that is just like, wow, what an impact, what a difference. And so yeah, just really, really proud.
That's amazing. Yeah, like, you know, and the fact that you're getting this feedback and the research is what's important, because that shows what's actually working. You know, I think it's sometimes difficult to kind of pinpoint exactly why, you know, like you say, you know, why do certain people have great mental health and others are struggling? You know, what's going on in their lives? You know, what is their mindset and that kind of thing. And I think so. I know you brought up toxic masculinity, and I know this might be a little bit controversial. So if you don't want to go there, let me know.
Strap it in. Come on, bring it to me.
Okay, so I wanted to ask, you know, what is your kind of opinion with regards to the hashtag that went around about all men are trash? Because in my opinion, that's kind of quite damaging towards men's mental health.
Yeah, it's not. I don't like it at all. But in the same way that it reverses to, you know, to women. And what's the irony of men's mental health and the charity that we've got is we're successful. The biggest reason is because of the women in our lives supporting us to go. My wife saying, yeah, it's important you go on this call and talk and help and support each other's. But we also get messages from mums, daughters, worried about their loved ones, and going, I'm really worried. Here's a photo. he's coming down. I'm going to be thrown in through the door. Can you just give him a bit of extra TLC? And I think it's everyone's business, it's everyone's. Suicide prevention is absolutely everyone's business. And and also our open social medias, the majority of the people there, 60%, I think 65% on our open Facebook group is women.
Yeah.
All supporting our mission, and vice versa. We should be supporting women's missions.
Yeah.
And in fact, we've got a charity football game with Aviva running it, and they're supporting two charities. One, us, Menfulness, and the other one is Kyra, which is a women's.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
Amazing, absolutely amazing charity. And I think the more we get, it isn't us and them. It's equality and being together, that everybody struggles with their mental health.
Yeah.
The reason why we've got a men's mental health support group is because suicides, there's 6,500 suicides last year. There's a 6% increase. Only a third, 80% of those were guys. Only a third of those guys have accessed mental health support. So it's those people it's that preventative stuff. So there's a huge reason of why we're pushing on with Menfulness. But that doesn't mean to say that it's us and them. And all men are trash. No. Some men are trash. Yeah. Some women are trash. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We know that.
Exactly.
It's just kind of, and that's society, and something that what we don't like to do in Menfulness is put people in boxes, and we try not to talk about work, because as a guy that really defines you. And also I know that myself included, been made redundant a few times, and at that time I don't really want to talk about it because I'm quite low about it. So try not to try and get to you're more than your job, and you're more than your mental health diagnosis. You're a person, and it's all about strengths with us. Like what who are you? And it's really just brilliant in terms of, like, some people are like, I can't believe how much I spoke at that talk group, and we're trying to find out reasons why. It's like, well, why was that? It's like it was the impact of others, and the realization that I'm not alone, the safetyness of it, non-judgmental, and also congratulating them for opening up, and it's purely kindness and love continuing throughout all of our activities to support each other and pick each other up. And that difference, you get a pat on the back from your gaffer at work. You go, oh, well done, Jack. That's a brilliant piece of work. That it's huge, isn't it? And that's the same with your mates. You get a hug like that. Well done, mate. Well done, Jack. That sounds rubbish, Jack. What you're dealing with. Yeah. That you're not trying to fix it. You're just trying to be sympathetic with opening ear. And realize it, and for that person, realizing that they're not alone, I suppose, and choosing a good time and somewhere without distractions is good. Open questions, and listening well, and just giving it time. Not trying, and that's what we're trying to get guys to do to really. I think as a bloke, sometimes you want to fix the problems. Even now, I've created this charity. My wife's always like, just listen. I don't want you to fix it. So that's what we're trying to do. Listening is again a superpower.
It's the biology plays a big role, doesn't it? In how we communicate, and how we. I mean, part of communication is not only talking, but it's also listening and processing information. So I think it's very interesting, and it's like what stands out to me is like it's building that camaraderie between men and like-minded people that also help that, and it's breaking down that idea that men don't need support. I mean, if you look at successful marriages, it's men are successful when they have a woman that stands by their side, essentially,
100%.
And builds them up and doesn't break them down. you know, and you know, stuff like that is so crucial and important, I think, to kind of put out there and be, you know, be honest about, and not pretend that, you know, they just they can just kind of make their own way, and you know, like they need that sometimes, that, you know, like you said, that pat on the back and saying you did a good job and you're doing amazing, and you know, thank you for
Yeah.
providing. You know, it's just saying small things like thank you, you're doing a good job, like that makes a whole world of difference.
Yeah, just being you know, I think it's the most basic need that people need, and I think there was some kind of saying like back in the 1700s, like the most basic need that human beings need is feeling of valued, and feeling
Mhm.
that they
The
have a voice
purpose,
and a
yeah.
purpose, and that's what we're trying to do, and what we're seeing, and I think what's amazing, which we didn't expect really. So the guys those 400 guys that have accessed counselling, after that, when we've responded to their need quickly, and that's an important point, because if you're 45 years old and you suddenly talk to the GP and then you're having to wait a year or 2 years for support, that
Mm.
period of time is what we find in the statistics often the worst time
Yeah.
for people. So responding to need quickly is vital. And then what you get from that, once you have responded quickly and they have access to counselling, they're like, whoa, at a time of need, you helped me. Now I want to help you. So the fundraisers that we have, we've got a York 10K every year, and we're a charity. The first time we were a charity last year, and we had 40 guys that are running. And what was
Oh,
really
wow.
amazing was I knew that at least 30 of them have access to our counselling, and
Oh,
that was
that's
just like
amazing.
wow. And then we've got just this weekend, Kate and Jess doing a fundraiser for us, so family friends. We've got, you know, it's great that we've got women involved, superpower women, superhero women, and they're walking from Scarborough to Whitby,
Wow.
just being over to a company, Fenton and Simpson, and they're doing the York Dragon Boat race for us. York Recycle, who are a cycle company, and they recycle bikes. They're doing the coast to coast cycle
Oh, yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah.
on an old tandem. And these are all people that have either seen it or been impacted by it, or we've helped and supported others, and they go, "Wow, I want to give, I want to give back." And yeah, it's just brilliant. It's just it, that gives me the most joy to, wow,
Yeah.
we helped you at a time of need and now you're wanting to help out. And that in turn is a protective factor for a lot of our guys. But you know, your story will actually be somebody else's survival guide.
Yeah.
So you haven't that time, and to be able to go, oh, I've been through that, and this is what I did, A, B, and C. That's a real protective factor as well for people in their mental health, to be able to help others. So you can put people together, and you're like thinking, oh wow, a month ago you were struggling.
Yeah.
Now look at you, you were supporting that young man who's just come in, buddying up with him, and
Yeah.
it's making you feel good. You know, we know that helping other people,
Mm.
it helps, it helps you. You know, it's, yeah, although we're all volunteers, we get a buzz from this. You know, we get a massive buzz by the impact and the difference that it's making, and that serotonin feel of, and even just talking about it, that you can probably tell the passion
Yeah.
that I have, because I can see, I see it on a daily basis. I'm
The
getting
difference.
messages from guys who are over at Tesco's, Clifton Moor, and we've got, you know, those little blue tokens. We've got Menfulness in there. Go, Jack, I put in about 20 tokens. Hopefully we can win. Hopefully we can win. And it's just that we're galvanizing guys to kind of support their own mental health, but then also support each other and take care of each other. But with that, all family members are massively part of us as well.
Mm.
And like you said, it's no coincidence that all five, apart from Matty, still single, he was on first dates. Shout out to Matty. But it's no coincidence that we've got loved ones behind us and why we're doing this, who believe in it, are passionate about it, see the impact it has on us, and a difference that it can make to others. And that's women in our lives, our wives and our partners, going, off you go. You need to do this. And
into
it's me.
battle you go. It's
Yeah.
a mental battle, but
yeah, into battle. Yeah, into battle. But a positive battle, most of it.
yes, it's got a positive outcome. It's you know, there's no losers essentially in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, it's great, you know, it's like sharing that light with the community so that, you know, you drown out the darkness essentially.
Yeah,
You know, and I just see this visual of people with a candle and like just lighting each other's candle and kind of like, you know, they're just becoming less and less darkness because of the lights that's just kind of overtaking. And it's amazing that you've built this community of people that's, you know, so supportive not only of each other but of the community itself. And like you said, it's very rewarding to kind of pay it forward and, you know, say like that you've done so much for me and I want to make I feel so amazing that I want to make this difference in someone else's life. I want to contribute to the cause that, you know, like make my life better so that it can make someone else's life better and they can also feel amazing. I think that's such an amazing mentality and culture to cultivate.
No, absolutely, and something that gives me, I suppose, motivation. I suppose I don't know if you know of the story of Johnny Benjamin, and he wrote a book called The Stranger on the Bridge, and I think there was a short film as well. And Johnny really struggled with his mental health, also struggled with his sexuality and coming out, and he hadn't told anyone. And he attempted to take his own life quite a few times. And he was in a mental health hospital, really struggling with that. And he made a decision that he wanted to take his own life. And he went onto a bridge. And he knew where he was going. And a guy walked past. And there's a hashtag called Find Mike, and Mike sat with him and didn't say a thing. And at first, Johnny was annoyed. It was like, what are you doing sat here? Like, why are you here? You know, you can see what's happening, and it was just present. It was just there. And he started talking. And he never talked so much at all. And then he decided to make a decision to right, this is the moment that I'm going to tell my parents. This is the moment that it changed. It was a turning point, and there's often a turning point with somebody with suicidal ideation. And just really, really it impacted the story. And they asked him what was the difference, like with him, and he said, without doubt, it was because of a presence of another human being who was there and wanted to be there for no other reason that it was the right thing to do. And then he told his story, and it kind of went up and wrote a book. And then there was a hashtag called Find Mike. He wanted to find Mike, and now Mike and Johnny go around talking that suicide prevention is everybody's business, and you can make a difference to strangers. And like what we often say to each other, you don't have to be a specialist for suicide prevention. You will know in your gut, your friends. And I've been doing suicide prevention workshops over at your college, and we talked to them about, you know, looking at the signs and trusting your gut. And a few of them even said, you know, last week I always sent my friend abuse with emojis and funny memes and stuff, and he just sent me back a kiss, and that was it. And that's when I knew. That's when I knew, and nobody else knew. And I was like, I need to do something here. He's not himself. Those were the signs. So it's about finding those signs and trusting your gut, really. You don't have to do the training. And You know, there's some really basic things, you know, and there is fears when talking about suicide, but, you know, the fears are, what if I put the idea in their head? What if I upset them? What if I offend them? What if they say no? What if, you know, what if they actually say yes? And, you know, we're not so powerful to put it in people's heads. It's hard to be upset with someone who's showing genuine concern, and it's better to be upset and then be safe, I suppose.
Mm.
And if they say no, well, there's no harm done. If they say yes, we'll just simply reassure them and just say, I'm really proud of you for telling me,
Yeah.
you know, talk to me more. There is help. Thank you so much. You know, what a position to be in, to be able to help someone. And there is so much support out there, like incredible amounts. There's helplines. There's obviously Samaritans. There's Calm. There's crisis line that you can call. You got your GP. There's loads of helplines. Papyrus, Samaritans, Young Minds. There's a switchboard. Shouts. There's a switchboard it's called Switchboard for the LGBT community, which is a phone line. There's loads of tech help out there as well, specifically for younger people. But where I would suggest people to go on to, because like we're mainly based in Europe, but go on to Hub of Hope, which is an app, and then it breaks it down into the different areas where you can get support.
That's very useful. Yeah. I think what we'll do as well is when we post the content, we'll share all these things in the description as well, so people know where to go and who to reach out to if they do need the help. Because I think that's the important thing is to know that there is help.
Yeah.
And it is ready. There are people that are ready and willing to help. And you don't need to be alone in it. Whatever you're struggling with, these people are definitely, they're non-judgmental. Like you can go to them open and honest and just be very, very vulnerable. And they're there to kind of like support you through what you're going through. Rather reach out, it's, what's that saying? So it's better to, be a shoulder to cry on than to carry a coffin, essentially. So I think that's the important thing, is like there is help for you out there. So yes, I think we'll post that underneath so that people are aware of where they can go to as well.
I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like I think you're doing amazing work, Jack. I think we'll chat offline as well, and like I'm happy to get involved as well with things, whatever I can do to kind of help from my side. Was there anything else that you wanted to touch on specifically?
No, not really. I mean, as I mentioned, I think we've got to a point now in terms of, and even somebody that set up a suicide prevention charity, I still find it a struggle to actually say that word. But we've got to a point now where we have to talk about it. It's literally the biggest killer of anybody under 30 and young people under 35, and 80% of those are guys. We have no choice but to talk about it. But the more we talk about it, the more we're saying it's a thing, and the more we can support people. Because when they mention it, those are the people. That's a good sign that they have talked, because then they can access help. There's a difference between suicidal ideation and actually having a plan, but it can be just because they are struggling with that day. And a poem that amazingly we won gold at the Charity Film Awards down in Leicester Square on the Odeon. So you see my big mug there. We talk about one more day is giving people the third option. So sometimes those two options are so overwhelming, and life can be so overwhelming you don't want to continue.
Yeah.
And then the other option is it's just as overwhelming to take their own life. So what we say is just one more day, we can get through this. If you can get through one more day, let's look at the support. And in that time, hopefully they realize that they're not alone because they've spoken to you.
Yeah.
There's access to support because you research that support and we'll tell you about all that support. And there is hope because as part of that film that Matt Kelly wrote the poem, but the most powerful and impacted thing was about 40 people, men from York, who had taken their own lives, and their family members allowed us to use their photograph in their memory. And I remember seeing that, and some of the people that we know personally, and seeing their photographs on the big screen. And it was a massive moment. But we got those photographs within 2 weeks, and this is just York. You know, this is just York. So we need to be having that conversation about it. But there's hope for those families because actually in their memory they're on the big screen and they're making a difference and hopefully preventing for other families to go through and being part of this movement of, you know, in their memory we are going to do something about this and we're going to make a difference. And it's all partnerships that we work with. We work very closely with Charlie Dallas Lancaster Foundation. Shout out to you guys there and the sisters over there. And he was an inspiration to so many people. He was a man about town, and he had a Lancaster and Sams. He's a estate agent. He was a really successful businessman, and it just goes to show that you never know what people are going through. And you know, sadly, he took his own life a couple of years ago, and since then they've been working really, really hard alongside us to kind of go right. Enough is enough. And in Charlie's memory, the impact that he had on so many people was absolutely unbelievable. He used to do fundraisers constantly for mental health charities, and they are making such a huge difference in his name. So his legacy lives on, and the impact that he had in the world is still carrying on. So shout out to you, girls. We love you very much.
I think that's also something I just want to bring attention to people. Like, so if there's anyone that wants to work with you guys, and kind of like, you know, contribute to the charity, obviously there's fundraisers and stuff. What is kind of the process? Do they need to reach out to you guys directly via email? And then what are the ways that people can kind of help out and get involved?
Yeah, so generally, yeah, as I say, like anybody that wants to do a fundraiser, yeah, absolutely. We'll fully support that. We're in it's kind of a bit of a strange position where we need to grow, but we haven't got capacity to grow. So this research is really creating the model for that. But if anybody wants to get involved, certainly we're working with a lot of corporate sponsorships as well, who are like just sponsoring our shirts for the York 10K, and but anyone that wants to get involved, please just get in touch. It's hello@menfulness.org, and just if you've got any ideas to help support us, we'll be really grateful. And as I said, all the events, they're run by our members who have kind of had a bit of a brainwave and gone, you know what, I want to do an allotment. And we're like, yeah, I can't grow stuff, so you give it a go. And the difference that makes. So, yeah, I suppose we're always open to ideas, suggestions, partnerships, to help more, have more of an impact and make more of a difference. So please get in touch.
Okay, no, that's brilliant. So if you're happy with leaving it on that note, then we'll just include like I said, we'll include the information regarding which charity or which services they can reach out to in case people need assistance. And then we'll also include, obviously, if you're okay with it, just your email so that it's readily available there for people to reach out if they need, if they want to collaborate with you guys or organize something to contribute to the charity. I'll have a chat with you offline, um,
Brilliant.
ways that I can provide services or whatever. But yeah, I think that we had a really good conversation, and I hope it was beneficial to people. I think the work you guys are doing is amazing, and obviously keep up the good work.
Thank you.
um,
No,
I'm
no. Well,
looking forward to your research,
yeah,
and
yeah. I'm
I
probably
think
giving
that's
too
going to
much
be.
away. I'm going to get a slap on the wrist by the boys for giving too much away. But I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Yeah, that's amazing. And yeah, just when is the conference again? Is that open to the public, or is that more?
No, we've had to be quite specific. So it's over at York St John, and we've only got a small amount of tickets really. But we will be publishing the research after that.
Okay.
So we're trying to get a few movers and shakers who can actually take it forward. We're trying to be a bit more strategic who we invite to really kind of give it a push.
Yeah, that's understandable. Like it's just for when it is available, just where people can essentially access that. But so you'll probably, when you publish it, put it like on your website and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a co-researcher, which is very exciting. For someone that's dyslexic and not very good at reading and writing, I'm very excited to have something published.
It's amazing.
Yeah, really excited. So yeah, big shout out to Holly and Gary from York St John, who have just been mind-blowingly amazing with this and very, very passionate about it. So yeah, we're very lucky to have them to our researchers.
That's brilliant. Well, thank you so much again for taking the time and having a chat. And it was really, really insightful. I think you can kind of carry on for days on the
Yeah, we
topic.
could, couldn't we? Yeah, we could. Yeah, no, it's been really cathartic actually. Just kind of having a good chat.